How's it, everyone? Welcome to another string review right here on OpenCourt. So today I'm testing out a Yonex string that I've never tried before, but I've been very curious to try it because I've heard a lot of great things. So I was very excited to finally get my hands on it and try it. And that is the Yonex PT Strike. Let's check it out. So as you guys can see here, this is not the standard retail packaging that the Yonex PT Strike comes in. And that's because I was given this set from the good guys at On Point Sports. So I want to give them a quick shout out, On Point Sports Hawaii. They're a sports shop right here in Hawaii. They have an awesome selection of tennis products, pickleball gear, all kinds of sports gear. And they're always such great people, so knowledgeable, very helpful. And so if you guys are ever in Hawaii, go check out On Point Sports. They have a great selection of products. So as you guys can see here, this PT Strike was made famous because of this player right here, Denis Shapovalov. He is a flamboyant lefty who has incredibly fast swings, and this string was specifically made and tailored towards his game. I've said in the past that I have a sort of love-hate relationship with Yonex. Their rackets have recently started growing on me, but I still don't really groove with their strings. I'm not a big fan of Polytour Pro. I like their Polytour Fire. Their Polytour Rev is okay, but I wouldn't really put any of those in my racket of choice to go play in a tournament. But I've never tried this PT Strike before, and from what I heard, this is the most feel-oriented, lively playing of the bunch. And that's the main problem I have with Yonex strings. They're just a little bit too muted, a little bit too soft and dead, not enough response for my game. This is a typical round polyester, no special bells and whistles or anything in terms of the construction. It doesn't promise incredible spin or anything like that. But from what I heard, it's really that feel that sets the Strike apart from the rest of the Polytour lineup. So I'm gonna string up the Strike in my VCore SV98, and I'm gonna get on the court and I'm going to really see whether or not the feel is as lively as I've heard, because that's what I'm most looking forward to. So let's get this strung up and let's get on the court. So getting into the pros of the Yonex PT Strike, what I heard about this string is that it was the crispest playing of the Yonex Polytour lineup, and that proved to be true. This has a great crisp feel, which, as you guys know, I like crisp playing strings because it makes me feel very connected to the ball, especially on those touch shots like slices, drop shots, angle volleys, short angles, corner shots, those high risk, high reward shots that I tend to hit. The Polytour Strike allowed me to do that better than Polytour Pro or even Polytour Fire, I think, which is probably still my favorite Yonex string, but this Polytour Strike is a very close second. That crisp feel is not like any other Yonex string. Because of that, I felt very connected to the ball, both from the baseline and at the net. I could hit those drop shots and angle volleys at the net like I like to do, but I could also take big rips from the baseline because I felt so connected. I knew exactly where the ball was gonna go. I was able to pin my opponent back deep on the baseline and stay on the offensive, which is not something I can do with a mushier, deader playing string because I'm not as confident going for those high risk shots because I'm not confident it's going to land exactly where I'm aiming. The Strike also has decent power. It has a very nice popping sensation when I strike the ball cleanly in the sweet spot on a full swing, kind of like Tour Bite. I wouldn't call this a power string per se, but it definitely packs a little bit more power than, for example, Polytour Rev, or definitely more than the Polytour Spin and Spin G. I think the Strike is a little less powerful than the Polytour Pro. The Tour Pro is also softer, but the Strike is also fairly comfortable. It rides that fine line between firm and controlled, but also powerful and comfortable. It also has decent tension maintenance. I didn't notice any drop in tension after the first initial hit, and after 3 play sessions, I really felt like the Strike didn't change tension maintenance at all. From what I read, the tension maintenance is the main selling point of the Strike, and I think this definitely delivers. It lasts a long time and it's a round string, so it's not going to saw into each other, so I'm betting that the durability on the strike is also going to be very good. My favorite shots to hit with the PT Strike were the flat and the slice serves. Because I felt so connected to the ball and because of the decent pop and power, my flat serves were clearing the net and going in at a higher rate than usual. Also, my slice serves I was able to hit near the sideline and follow it up into the net. I rely heavily on a string to complement my service game because I don't have the greatest serve, so I want something that's going to help me out, and the strike definitely helped me to stay aggressive right from the onset of the point with my serves. And lastly, it's a very slick feeling string, so I think it could definitely be good as a hybrid cross if you want to use natural gut, or for example if you want to use Polytour Rev in the main, which is also very slick and gets good spin. The strike as a cross could complement that, and this is a little bit crisper than the Rev, so if you don't like Rev because it doesn't give you that connectivity, you can complement it with the strike, or obviously natural gut or a multi-filament in the mains would work well also. Now getting into the cons of the Polytour Strike, although the control and the power and everything is pretty good, the spin is just average. I can't hit heavy kick serves with the strike because it's a simple round poly. It does have decent snapback, but because it doesn't grip the ball like Polytour Rev or even the Polytour Spin and the Spin G, this is definitely not what I would call a spin friendly string. It's more of a control, power, comfort, tension maintenance type of string, which is similar to the Head Hawk Touch, just not quite as dead as the Hawk Touch. But the spin is good if you have fast swings, like on my forehand for example. I didn't have any trouble generating spin, but it was really on the kick serve where I struggle with the strike. Even in my VCore SV98, which is supposed to be a spin friendly racket, I did not feel my kick serves kicking up off the court as I could with the Polytour Rev. And so really, because the flat and slice serves are working so well for me, I didn't use the kick serve that often except for out of habit. I definitely think the strike is better for flat shots because of that crisp feel and the pop, and also because of the connection I felt with the ball. It was also good on volleys, but I definitely wouldn't put this in, for example, a pure arrow and try to recommend it to somebody who has a really spin focused game. I think this is definitely for people who have more aggressive flat strokes and just want a crisp feel that will get them connected to their shots. So who is the Yonex Polytour Strike for? As I just said earlier, it's for somebody who plays aggressive from the baseline and hits a flatter ball, but also wants something that's crisp, similar to Luxilon Alupower or a Tour Bite. This is obviously not going to be as spin friendly as Tour Bite, but for someone who likes that feel, this is going to be softer and more comfortable than Tour Bite. So if your arm can't handle that, the Polytour Strike would be the next logical step down. It's not a super cheap string, but I definitely think it's worth the price because the tension maintenance is good and it's a slick round poly, so there's not going to be friction burn. It's going to be very durable, and I think it's going to last you a while. I also think if you're looking to experiment with hybrid setups, the Polytour Strike would make a good cross hybrid because it maintains tension well, it's slick so it'll allow the mains to snap back and provide spin, and it gives you that crisp feel so you'll feel more connected to the ball. All in all, the Yonex Polytour Strike was a great playtest. I still think the Polytour Fire is probably my favorite in the Yonex lineup, but the Polytour Strike has become a close second, and so I'm definitely going to tinker with some hybrid setups with this in the cross. Thank you for watching this review of the Yonex Polytour Strike right here on Open Court. Be sure to check out On Point Sports if you guys are ever in Hawaii. Check out their awesome selection of tennis strings, tennis rackets, and other sports products. If you guys like this content and want to see more like it, be sure to overhead smash that like and subscribe button, and I'll see you on an Open Court.